It was India's turn last week. This week, you, the viewer, are up to bat. Let's see how y'all did. This is you, by the way. And welcome to the very first viewer submission edition to the Indicator Profile Series. We have Jurik Volty Bands. And I'm almost positive that I have never tested this one before myself. So I'll be interested to see what it does. Now, just so you know, you can submit indicators to Dan Stone at Stonehill Forex. If you don't already know how, I will show you how later in the video. But we actually do use them sometimes. They have to fit our criteria. They have to perform well, or at least reasonably well. And if all of the criteria are met, we will use it in an episode. How soon, we don't know, but we do use them. But we will profile them as you see today. So let's go ahead and get into things. Before we do that, if you're new, this is the Premier Indicator channel on all of YouTube. But not everything we do and say is going to make a lot of sense to you because we talk a certain way. We measure indicators a certain way. So you need to go to nononsenseforex.com, read the homepage, and watch the video on that homepage. Once you do that, there's still a lot of work to do, but you will catch up to us over time, and it is worth it, I can tell you that. But for those who are caught up, let's go ahead and get into this one. The year is 2018 with an asterisk. It was certainly before that. We just don't know exactly when, but 2018 is when it came to MT4, so that's what we're going with. This is going to be a confirmation indicator. After we're done with it, at least, it's going to be confirmation zero cross. And, exits, you guys know how I feel about zero crosses. The way we do this indicator, probably not, but there are some possible openings. We'll look at that in a moment. Actually, let's go ahead and look at it now. This is what the indicator looks like on the surface. You can see it's pretty much a zero cross with bands. If you go to the blog, I will provide the link to the blog down below. There's a few ways you can use this indicator, but I think you guys know what we're going to do to it. We're going to take those bands off, and it's going to look like this, and become a standard no-nonsense Forex confirmation zero cross indicator. So if you didn't already know, once the line crosses and closes above the zero, that's going to be a long, and then once it goes the opposite way, crosses and closes short, that will be a short position. Like I said, super easy. Now, if we go back and look at the bands, you could use the bands as a bit of an exit point. It's kind of like Donchian channel, I think, to where the price doesn't really go outside of them, but you can adjust these bands, I'm sure, to make price go outside of them. There are, give or take, 6 or 7 bajillion different settings on this indicator. You will really need to go to the blog to find out which ones are actually relevant. But the opportunity to adjust these bands and make them more exit-like should be available, though, again, I wouldn't recommend it, but the option is at least there. This is what we are dealing with today. So let's go ahead and measure it. Now, before we do that, understand you're going to have to measure this yourself. Take all of these results with a grain of salt, good or bad. And also know if you don't know how to do that, we actually show you how to do that. I give you a link down below to my automation blog, which has an embedded video from Dan Stone showing you how to test this yourself on the MT4 strategy tester. You'll also get a link to the blog. Like I said before, there's a lot in there this week too, so you're going to want to see that. Dan's second email address, use that one if you want to submit an indicator. If you use his primary, or if you put one in my comment section, it's not going to get used. We're not going to look at it. Go right here, and these are the ones we look at. Follow directions. And then you also get, of course, a link to the indicator library where you can download this indicator and all of the other indicators we have profiled here. So let's check this guy out. How did y'all do? Starting with the euro dollar, not great so far. At this point in time, with the results I've shown you, this might be my cutoff as far as me taking something like this further. On the 4-hour, we could barely get it above sea level there. And under 5% like this, with all the other ones we've shown you that have been higher, all of the other zero crosses we've already shown you that performed higher, maybe for Forex, you could probably put this one aside. If you want to test it, by all means, go ahead. You just never know. But at least on these preliminary testings, this is very underwhelming. Let's go ahead and see how it did on gold. Gold is usually better, and it's certainly better here. Very strong results on both, certainly on the daily, I think. And a good amount of total trades too, especially if you trade other metals. And we've also seen pretty low win-loss ratios in gold, which is fine. It's the ROI we're most concerned about, but a decent win-loss ratio here. So this indicator is slowly redeeming itself. Now let's go to the S&P. This is really good. This is very strong for the S&P in terms of everything. And I'm just looking at the daily because that's closer to what I trade than the 4-hour is. But in terms of total trades, win-loss ratio, a whole percentage point and a half over the average of the S&P year after year, just on one indicator alone. This is strong. And very similar results down below on the 4-hour if that applies to you. If anybody here submits an indicator that just gives me these type of results on the S&P 500, I would say job well done. But we still have one pair to go. Let's look at Bitcoin. Boom. Bitcoin has been explosive. Not all the time, but it has. And this is great. Especially if you're solely a Bitcoin trader, I think you would probably be happy with 66 trades. And then adding your algorithm and getting that down to, like, I'm totally ballparking here because I don't know what your algorithm looks like, but, maybe 50 trades, 45. That's a healthy amount that can keep you in the game, you know what I mean? But everything about this across the board on the daily is excellent to me for Bitcoin. So, no nonsense Forex trader Emmanuel K. Great job, sir. You have passed. Thank you for this indicator. We still have a lot of hand-picked indicators that Dan and I have chosen, including submissions from you to profile down the line. So be here for that. Subscribe, hit the bell. Don't miss anything. I am almost positive that we will have a Trading Psychology podcast episode next Monday, blogs every Thursday, investing podcast, Tim and a Contrarian every Saturday, and indicator profile videos every single Wednesday. I know things are slow right now, but this is the time to buckle down, run your tests, and build before things get crazy again, because they always do. So get to work and go get it.